欢迎光临. Welcome to Meatless Kitchen and Market, where we cook fresh and clean. Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Sally Wei. Today, we are going to cook something that is really fun. Halloween has been one of my favorite holidays, although I'm not a little kid, but I just love to cook for Halloween. So today, I'm going to share with you that I cook all the time that combine the most popular color, which is black. You know, the black widow and the orange. So let's get started. I'm going to share with you. First of all, we have to make the filling because we want to do the stuffed pumpkin. But later we're going to talk about the pumpkin. I have a few pumpkins here that you probably see it in Safeway, in Whole Foods, but you don't know what they're called. Okay, so let's get started. First of all, we want to chop some onions. Okay, some onions. And then we are going to chop this. It's a celery. So I chop it very fine. However, it doesn't really matter because later on we are going to stuff them into, we're going to cook them first. So make sure the filling is already cooked in case that if your pumpkin, the kind of a pumpkin they use, is very easy to cook, then you might end it that your pumpkin is already very soft and it's piercing through, but inside your rice is not cooked. Yes, we are cooking some rice, different types of filling than the regular stuffings. That the stuffings that you stuff in turkeys are probably bread, uh, you know, kind of based, but today we're using rice. So I will introduce what kind of rice we have. That we have black rice that you can substitute with brown rice or other kind of rice if you don't want it's completely black. Of course, if it's not Halloween, you probably want something else a little bit lighter. So you can substitute them with a wild rice or brown rice when it's Thanksgiving time. You don't want to have it so dark. We're almost done. So I have four stalks of celery, the small one. If you like more, definitely you can use more. There's no limitation that you cannot use this or that. Okay, here we go. We have celery. Okay, it's all done. And next we have some carrots. I'm not a big fan of carrots, but I think it's good for you. I normally don't peel my carrots because the skins are actually quite nutritious for our health. So if you don't mind, I would suggest that don't peel your carrots. All you have to do is a brush and kind of scrub it so it's clean. Then it's probably good enough. Now again, we have those diced. Mhm. Okay, here we go. We're almost ready. Let's see. My carrots in this bowl. And the last thing I want to chop is some mushrooms. So any kind of mushroom is fine. I use just regular mushroom. You don't have to chop them very fine. Some people like to use the shiitake mushroom as well and will bring a little bit of more intensive and more Asian taste to it. But the regular mushroom will give you that deep, rich of meaty taste that you're looking for. If you think juice vegetables, it can be a little bit too light for your taste. Then you can definitely saute some mushrooms. Okay, so we have everything. Now let's get started. Today I'm using some plant-based ground meat. Normally you can use Beyond Ground or Beyond Beef or Impossible Grounds. But today I'm introducing you this brand. It's called Light Life. And it says lean ground, so not very fatty. So we can add a little bit of oil to our pot. Okay, and get started. A little oil. Actually, I would like to do my ground first. So half of the life, a light life, it's about 1 cup. So I'm just going to use half. And that's mash it a little bit. Make sure we're having this on the side. Um, if you don't want to brown them separately, it's definitely okay. Because later on, you're going to put it in the oven for 1 hour to be cooked through. And of course, we are going to cook this with the rice. My habit is to cook the rice for about 10 minutes. And I forgot to mention, the rice was soaked overnight. So my experience is that I like to soak it more than 8 hours, not just 4 hours. To me, it was not soft enough or moist enough for me. Okay, let's get this going and cooking. Okay. I should have turned it on a little earlier, but it's okay. Okay, while it's cooking, you know what? Everything in. So here's the onion, carrots, very simple filling. Mix everything. What we're trying to cook it first is to bring out some flavor. With the heat and with the oil, can always enhance the flavor of onions and garlic and all this flavorful food. And when you cook, then it easily penetrates into other ingredients. So we want to use the heat to bring out more flavor. Okay, here we go. It's cooking. And these ingredients will make a big portion for 2 or 3 pumpkins. Depends on the size. You could use a large pumpkin, but that will require a lot longer time to cook, which is totally okay. I'm not too sure if I want to use all the celery. So let's see. Oh, great. It'll be cooked down. Now, finally, I'm going to put my black rice. Mixed well. I know, it's the beautiful color will actually eventually change. The black rice is very strong ingredient, so they will make everything black. But that's all we want. We want it to totally black. So it represents the black for Halloween. Okay, I got lots of stuff in my pot. So at this moment, I will add some water. Not too much because my rice was well soaked. And then here's our seasoning. So I have sage, which is very important ingredient. These are the sages from my garden. So I'm going to put some in there. I have dried them ahead of time. They're so flavorful. Don't be shy to use some sage. And I also ground my sage leaves so it become really fine. So I'm going to add some to it as well. Mix. Maybe a little more. A few more. It doesn't hurt. I love sage. It's one of my favorite herbs. Never used enough. And this time I'm going to use some rosemary. Just a tiny bit to enhance the flavor. I grew some rosemary as well from my yard. Love it. Love to grow vegetables and herbs. Okay. Now at this moment, we can cover it, let it cook. Okay. Now we're ready to see our pumpkins. So of course you have to hollow your pumpkin. Now today I have prepared 4 kinds of pumpkins. Of course I only be using the first time. It's called sugar pie. It's this type of, this is my hand. So the size is about as big as my hand. And I think it's perfect serving size. So what I have prepared over here can stuff 2 to 3 this kind of pumpkins. Okay, this is called sugar pie. And the other kind is a little smaller. You see, this is my hand. But we see this all the time. Guess what? It's called Jack B. Little. Isn't that cute? Jack O' Lantern, Jack B. Little. So tiny little one. This is too small to stuff inside. You can just bake it and eat with as a condiment. Now, this one is pretty. It actually comes in different colors. I've seen orange. I've seen a little bit like a grayish green, but this one is a little bit of a beige color. It's called the Fairytale. Fairytale pumpkins. These are very meaty and taste really good. Okay, but this is a lot larger. Now again, this is my hand, and this is the pumpkin. Look, much bigger. Much bigger. It's very heavy too. Next one. It's my favorite. This is pumpkin. This is green, but inside the flesh is orange. And it also comes with the orange color. This is called kabocha. Kabocha pumpkin has the texture almost like a really creamy potato, sweet potatoes. So it's a little bit more intense and dense, and but it just has this really nice of kind of like Idaho potato texture as well. So I really love it. And this is being widely used in cooking Thai curries. So if you like kabocha, it's your number one choice. This is my hand, much bigger, medium size. Okay, we have enough of our pumpkins. So I prepared my pumpkin right here. Remember this? This is a sugar pie. So the inside looks like this. While you're cutting your pumpkins, you need to be very careful. You don't want to use a very large knife like this one. It's not proper. Use a shorter one, a small one, really sharp edge over here. And what you do is just kind of poke it. And when you get to a point at the beginning, it can be a little bit tough, but sugar pie pumpkin is not as tough. So try to pick the one that you think with your strengths you are capable of doing it. If it is that kind of pumpkin is really tough, you can pop into the microwave for 2 to 3 minutes, or you can pre-cook it in the oven for about 20 minutes so it soften down. That will be easier to cook. And I have cleaned inside so make it hollow and get all the seeds and flesh out. So now I'm gonna pretend that this has been cooking for 15 minutes. Woo, very nice. I'm going to turn it down. I think I'm going to start to stuff my pumpkin. What you want to do is actually cook it until your rice is almost cooked. And then your liquid has been absorbed. But we can do that in the show. So I'm going to stuff the pumpkin. So right here, pumpkin. Oh, woof. I forgot to prepare my pumpkin. So here's some oil. I am going to brush inside. Okay. And I will also brush outside. Right here. Let me move the chopping block away. Here's my pumpkin. Put on the cookie sheet. And I'll brush the outside as well. So when it's cooking, it's really nicely and oiled. If you don't want that oily taste, it's not really oily, but it will be shiny. That you don't need to brush it with the oil either. You don't have to if you don't want to. Okay, here we go. And I have preheat the oven to 400 degree. Okay, our pumpkin is oiled, and I will put a little bit black pepper inside. Here we go. Yep. And some salt. I use my hand to kind of put it over, kind of rub it. But we are going to season our rice as well, so not to worry. Cool. Okay, it's all ready. Now I need to season my rice. So I have some salt, freshly ground pepper, and I would like to introduce you a very interesting this is called chicken salt. But see what it says over here? It says vegan. Really tasty. Suggest if you could find this, very nice. And we'll put a little bit seasoning. And I'll put a little bit paprika, which is my favorite. Love paprika. It gives that peppery taste, but not so spicy. Okay, as you can see, whoa, the color has changed. Isn't that interesting? Okay, now let's mix this well, and then smells so good. Smells so good. I am going to stuff my pumpkin. Okay. Mix. Put as much mix as I can. And you want to tap it very tightly. Tight, 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 tight. Don't worry about expanding of the rice because it has been soaked. So it will not expand too much. That's stuff. We're almost done. My last bit. I don't think I can stuff anymore. Very tight. Okay. Clean up a little bit. Aha. And then put the lid back on. And I will also oil my lid a little bit. It's also prevented from darkening very much. Of course, I have washed the pumpkin before I do any surgery to it. Very good. Okay, now we're ready to go. Put it in the oven and bake it at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 1 hour or until your pumpkin can pierce things through easily, like really soft and tender. Then you're done. And because your rice has been pre-cooked, so you don't have to worry about eating raw rice. So make sure your rice needs to be cooked a little bit longer until the moisture is almost gone. Today in the show that we cannot do that, but just remember to do that. Okay, so I'm done with my stuffed pumpkin. I will post a photo that after it's been cooked. So it takes 1 hour. So thank you very much for coming. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel and also ring the bell so you'll be notified for every new episode. So I will see you next Friday. Thank you for coming. Bye.